This video is a little bit different from what I usually do, but I felt like sitting down and actually talking to you guys because I've never really actually introduced myself properly over video, and I've been really reflecting on my goals as like long term as an artist, and I wanted to share some of these things. First of all, who the fuck am I and why the fuck should you care? One, I don't know if you need to care, to be honest, but my name is Caitlin. I am an artist. I don't do it full time. It's what I want to do full time. Really, right now, it's just what I do outside of work. I work as a barista 30 hours of the week. The rest of that time, I try to build whatever this is. And I've known since not a very young age, well, a younger age, that being an artist was more than just a hobby for me. No hate to people who just do art for a hobby. Obviously, being creative in any aspect, in any facet of a way at all is good. But for me, art was not a hobby. I knew that in my soul. I could feel it in my being that it was meant to be more. It was something that I wanted to do and pursue as a career. I started drawing when I always kind of liked drawing, but I never actually really got into it until 2016. I think I was about 13 at the time. I got my first sketchbook from my friend at my birthday party. I was so excited. I've never had a sketchbook before. I still have this sketchbook. I was like, oh my god, this is literally the best thing in the whole entire world. Thank you. And I started sketching. And this is kind of when I started realizing that people make money online being an artist. They make videos, they show their art, they put their name out there, they make shops, they sell prints, they sell commissions, they do all these things. And I was like, wow, this looks awesome. I really, really want to do something like that. I think the next year, actually, I still have these accounts, by the way. I don't use them, but I was able to find them so I can show you. But I started an Instagram account for my art. I didn't post very frequently or anything. It was mostly just friends and family that followed me on there. But I was trying to figure out what it was like to post my stuff online. It really wasn't that serious. Obviously, it was kind of bad, to be honest. That's okay. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I didn't know I was just making whatever. And I also was making what was kind of popular, whatever I consumed. A lot of I don't know if she still exists, but my favorite creator growing up was Creative Cara. She did Copic marker sketches. I was like, I want to do stuff like that. Eventually, I was like, this isn't really actually what I want to do, but that's not the point. Anyway, so she was my favorite. I loved watching her stuff. I wanted to do stuff like her. So I kind of mimicked the sort of things she was doing in my sketchbook. Still trying to figure out what I like, still trying to get good at drawing, because honestly, I never actually practiced as much before now. And then eventually, 2019 or so, that's when I got into painting, and that's when I realized painting was more of my medium than drawing. I still love drawing, I love pencil drawings, but painting was the it thing for me, and I would do paintings. That's how it started. And then I made a TikTok. I also have my TikTok, actually. They were not good. I had like the crappiest phone on planet Earth. I'm pretty sure my phone was $50 at Walmart or something. It's my first phone. I was 15. My parents finally allowed me to have a phone, so the quality wasn't good. I didn't know how to record videos for this sort of thing. I kind of just did what I thought was cool. I painted my fan. I love painting things I love painting normal things, okay? Like, I painted my fan. I painted my wall also in my bedroom. And I did like I like travel stuff, so I did like 5 different places that I wanted to travel when I painted them. I also painted my sister's fans because she was like, oh, I like that, you should do mine. So I did hers, and I did like flowers. I don't have a picture of it, I don't think, but I didn't post it or anything. And then by the time I was 16, I was definitely on board with this whole, I'm gonna do content to get myself out there. That's how I'm gonna get known. I'm gonna do a YouTube. I'm gonna make a shop. I'm gonna sell my art online. It's gonna be so amazing. It's gonna be the freaking best thing in the entire world. Like, oh my gosh. And around this time, when I was 16, I think when I was 16, this was 2020 actually. So this is around the time where, COVID and everything. A lot of popular YouTubers who were into art and stuff or in a creative career, they were going to college. They were doing art. Oh, I'm an art student. Here's a day in my life as an art student. I was like, this kind of content is so cool. People eat this stuff up. I want to do that. So I was thinking, my favorite YouTuber around this time, Best Dressed. Okay, she's not an artist. She never was an artist. She was more into fashion and stuff, but I loved her content. And I'm pretty sure she went to UCLA. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to UCLA. That sounds so freaking cool. It's an art college. It's one of the top art colleges. I am going to do this. Background, I don't live in California. Okay, I live in the Midwest. If I went to UCLA, I would have to travel across country, first of all. Also, UCLA is in Los Angeles, so that's a very dense populated place in California. The cost of living, probably hell. I mean, even back in 2020, still probably was not very good. Definitely not good now. Like, I don't know what, I honestly thought that if I went to UCLA, started a YouTube channel, did all this, like, oh, I'm in art college, like, that would just carry me through all this. It would have been cool. Part of me kind of wishes, like, thinks that still would have been really fun to go to art college and have all these friends, do all this YouTube stuff with that. But it just wasn't tangible for 2 reasons. First of all, the cross country, I wasn't thinking about that at the time. Like, that wasn't even on my mind. It was only later that I realized, like, yeah, living there probably would not have been easy. I wouldn't be near my family. I'd be all by myself. Like, that's not anything that I considered. The second thing was, when I signed up for classes in my senior year, I was like, a lot of art colleges, if you want to, you need a portfolio. And usually they have a class for that you do in high school that helps you make your portfolio so then you can use it for college entries. We had AP art studio class, but not enough people would sign up for it, so it didn't exist. So I was like, great. So now I can't make a portfolio in school because this AP art class doesn't exist because no one's taking it. That means that I would have to make my portfolio on my own time. That sounded awful. I did look into it and I was like, no way am I doing this. That just didn't happen. I was like, never mind. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go to UCLA. I'm not even going to do art college at all. Then I was like, I don't need to go to art college to prove that I am an artist. There's nothing wrong with going to art college. Still genuinely think it's cool and would have been fun. Specifically, meeting people. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to do art college, meeting people who were doing similar things to me. Like, the friends that you make in art college, probably amazing. The best thing ever. But I didn't want to get into debt for that. And I didn't need to do that to prove that, like, oh, well, I went to art college, so that's why, no, I don't need to do that. I kind of shifted. I still wanted to do online stuff. I still wanted to do YouTube. I still wanted to do the online shop and everything. Around this time, I was on Mercari. This is like a secondhand selling online place. I was just scrolling on there and I saw someone, and this is around the time I was really getting into skateboarding. For the first time, I was like really enjoying it. I was like, this is so fun. This is so cool. I would watch skateboarding videos all the time. I loved skateboarding. I wasn't very good, but I loved it. And I saw someone who was selling a skateboard that they painted. I was like, you know what? I think you're on to something. And then I thought, what would be really cool? would be to have a brand, a skateboard brand that was my art. I wouldn't paint the skateboards because that's not necessarily good for the wood or actually riding the skateboards, but I would have my art printed onto skateboards and I'd have my own little brand. I was telling my sister about this. She was the only person at the time that I told about this because it was wild. I was like, is this even a good idea? Should I even do this? She's like, this is really cool. So she helped me figure out a name. We were brainstorming and I found a name. I was like, this is the name that I'm using. It just felt right. It just felt right. And I haven't told anyone the name. I haven't really developed on this idea that much. So I haven't really talked about it to many people. But I knew when she was telling me different names, I was like, this is the name. This is it. And I've been keeping it. I actually have this notebook right here that I created when all this was going on, and I actually have when we first were considering names. It's in here somewhere, and I wrote all of this stuff about how to sell stuff online, what I would need to do the stuff for my skateboard brand, all of that stuff I have in here. I still use this notebook for stuff because I still have a lot of space. My end goal was the skateboard brand. I would sell it, and then eventually I would make enough to keep putting back into my business and then have a skateboard brand. Then I still wasn't really creating. After the whole Instagram and TikTok thing, I was like, I kind of stopped because I felt confused. One, I wasn't posting what I actually wanted to post. Two, I didn't really understand any of that. So I was just kind of doing whatever. And I didn't make YouTube because I had a phone that was really, really bad. I was such a perfectionist, and I was like, I need to be prepared. I need to be ready. I need to do all this stuff. I need to have a camera. I need to have a printer. I need to have a computer. I have to have all this stuff before I even start. I didn't have the mentality you need to start before you're ready because you're never going to be ready. So I didn't start YouTube yet. And honestly, looking back now, if I would have known to just start, I would have started earlier. I wish I have started earlier. I graduated high school, still kind of figuring out what I was going to do. I still didn't really, between graduating high school and starting my YouTube, 2022 to 2024, those 2 years, I really didn't make any art. I didn't sketch, I didn't paint, I didn't do anything. And I still was thinking I want to do this. And I didn't actually take any tangible steps that would help me, get closer to that goal. Then 2024, okay? Beginning of 2024, I was unemployed. 4 months, I think. And it was probably the most roughest time of my life. I'm not going to lie. I did fortunately have savings from my previous job, and I was trying to be very, very, with my savings so that it would last because I was trying really hard to find a job. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm not even going to lie, trying to find a job. Oh my God, it was so bad. And it made me realize I need to do this. I need to actually take steps to my goal. It lit a fire on my ass, and I was like, yeah, I need to start. Okay? Being jobless sucks, and you know what? I don't want to work a job the rest of my life like this. I want to have my own. I want to work for myself. I need to do something about it. So I started my YouTube in 2024, I think April. I was not confident at all. Never talked in front of a camera. Didn't like listening to myself. It was not great. And I wasn't doing art content either when I started my YouTube. I was kind of just doing vlogs, trying to figure out. When I started YouTube, I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of trying to do what other people were doing because I thought that's what was going to work. Why? No. Just no. If you're going to start, it doesn't matter what you start. Okay? Trying to do what other people are doing is not going to give you the results you think it's going to give. You need to just do what feels right to you. I eventually figured that out. I got better at talking it to the camera. I got better at editing. I got better at figuring out what content I actually wanted to make. All of these things, long ass journey. I will say that I did think that it would go faster than it did, and it has not. My expectations were not realistic. Then I was still kind of confused about content in general and posting. I don't know anything about content strategy. I didn't know anything, kind of throwing things at the wall, trying to figure out what I was going to post. I was like, oh, being an artist and posting is really sucky because obviously you have to make art to post stuff, and you can't just be a machine and just get things out every single day. It's just not realistic. I was like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I need to figure out what I'm gonna do, something that is not gonna burn me out. Okay, first of all, I need to actually start making art, because first I haven't used my sketchbooks in so long. I haven't painted a painting in so long. I wanted to actually utilize my sketchbooks. I know you don't necessarily need a sketchbook to do art and stuff, but for me, I like doing pencil drawings, even if it's just for fun, For sketchbooking for me is very low stakes, It's not something that needs to become anything. It can just be practice, it can just be warm up, it could just be fun little drawing. It doesn't need to be anything big. I wanted to do that. And since it's been so long since I'd done art, I was really frustrated with where I was skill-wise. Because I imagine, I was like, oh, well, I've been doing art for this long. I should be this good. Well, I haven't been doing art for years. I haven't been practicing these skills. And being an artist is not a talent. Being an artist is a skill. You want to be good at drawing, you have to draw. You want to be good at painting, you need to paint. Wasn't doing that. And then I was really bad at finishing stuff. I would start paintings, I'd have these ideas, and I'd start other ones, and then I wouldn't finish them. And I was realizing I only have, when I think about it, paintings that I actually like and I keep, I only have about 5 or 6 paintings. And I've been painting since 2019. So that's about 7 years. Only have 6 paintings. 2 of those paintings I made this year. I was not making enough art. And I was like, realistically, you want to be an artist? You need to be making more art. You can't be treating this like a hobby. You need to actually do it. You like doing it. Why are you not doing it? I like making art. I'm not putting the time to do art. Then eventually, I started working on YouTube, working on making more art more frequently. And then I had another idea. My boyfriend, he was talking about how he was going to make a board game, and he had all these ideas for it. He wanted to make a manga. I was like, I've kind of had this idea, like this thing that keeps reoccurring to me. A little background context. I have struggled a lot with maladaptive daydreaming. I know that that's not an actual diagnosable condition, but I know that this is something that I struggle with. It is so bad. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you, so fucking bad. Okay, I would pace around the room. I would think about these ideas. I would think about the same ideas, and I pretend that I was living in these ideas. This idea specifically, I had this character and this concept in my mind, and I would think about it a lot, and I would play these different scenarios about it. I was like, this is just like a daydream I made up. It's nothing. It can't be nothing. I can't turn it into nothing. It's nothing. And then I was telling my boyfriend about it because he brought up the whole manga. He was like, maybe this would be kind of cool. I was like, hey, this might sound ridiculous, but I have this very, very vague concept, and I was telling him about it. He's like, you could do something with that. That's a good story. So then I started thinking about it more. I started fleshing out a little bit more of the characters, more of what the story would actually be about, because in my, scenarios and everything, it didn't actually have an actual solid plot, so I needed to figure out an actual plot. And then I was like, I could write this. I like writing, but I don't love writing enough that I could think that I could actually sit down and write a full novel. So then I was like, okay, well, I could draw it because I see this universe, I see these characters so vividly, and I think that I would be better at drawing it rather than trying to describe it in words. I was like, graphic novel, perfect. I kind of researched what it was like to make a graphic novel, all these things, and it looked really fun. It looks hard, obviously. Looks like a lot of work, but it looks like a lot of fun too. I started kind of fleshing that out a little bit. Still pretty bare bones right now as it is. So I was like, okay, I got all these ideas. I want to sell my art online. I want to make a Patreon. I want to do YouTube. I want to do commissions probably. I want to do this graphic novel series. I want to make a skateboard brand out of my art. Great. And then I was thinking, is that like the end goal for me? You know, I want to have multiple streams of income because that's really the only way that you can get on top of things these days is having multiple streams of income. But then I wanted more purpose driven goals. I felt like all of my goals were like, oh, this is how I'm going to make money. This is how I'm going to do this, which there's nothing wrong with that. But there was something missing within the purpose part. I want a studio. I've seen artists, they have studios. I'm like, that is perfect. I would love to have a studio that was separate from my home. Lots of windows, lots of space, open plan. I can spread things out. I can have all of my creative projects here. I can spend a lot of time here. I can have a lot of, when I'm here, I'm in my creative mode. Like I'm in creative mode, And I was thinking what would be really cool is if I could take this idea with the studio, right? If it was big enough that I could get a big enough place where I could host classes. I've seen videos and like something that really speaks to me is when people do classes, when people do events, when people have like a whole community, they have a community thing going on. I've seen a video, I don't know where it is. I think it's in California. They have this event where they have an artist event and all these artists just come and they make art together in like the same space outside. People are making music, people are making art, people are talking. And I was like, that actually feels really good. I like that. People like bands, a friend group, they're in a band, they're trying to make music and they're playing in front of like a group of people. I like that. Oh, all these people are here and there was a video and this woman, she did a art gallery at her house in her backyard with her friends. Her and her friends had art, they hung it up, they had food, they all just, bunch of people, neighbors, strangers, friends, just a bunch of fucking people came, hung out, if they wanted to buy the art, they bought the art. Like that, it's something, I just love that. I love the community side of it, and I love other people who are creative, and I wanted to make a space because where I live, there's not really, first of all, we don't have a single art gallery, not a single art museum, not a single one. They're literally free. I was like, what would be fun? Just hanging out in an art museum for a couple hours, Artist date idea, going to an art museum. I don't have an art museum where I live, and I can't believe it. It's not, where I live isn't even that small. I'm bamboozled by it still. I was so upset. I want to create a community for creatives, any kind of creatives. Literary creatives, visual creatives, performing creatives, all type of artists. I want a place for them where they can share their craft, whether it's something they want to do as a career, whether it's something they do on the side, whether it's something they just do as a hobby, they just like to do from time to time. I don't care. I want a space for them. And I want to create that space for them. I want to create classes. And not just for me. I would love to host classes. I think that would be fun. It would kind of get me out of my comfort zone too. I'm not really someone who loves talking in front of a huge group of people, but I feel like if it was something that I was informed on and that I enjoyed, that I could do it, because I do sometimes do murder mystery parties, and that does give me a little anxiety, but since I know and I created it and I'm like, everyone is relying on me, like I can do it. I would love for other people being able to help other people host classes. Like if someone's like, oh, I know how to do this, I would love to do a class on this. I'd be like, perfect, I have the place for you. You can do this class X amount of time. I would have like a bulletin board. People could put up posters if they were in bands or if they had concerts or if they had like some sort of event they wanted to promote or whatever. I would do the art gallery thing. I think that would be fun, letting local artists have their own like booths or whatever, and everyone could just come and hang out, buy art if they wanted to buy art. I would do for performing artists, I would have a place for them to perform. If you're in a band, if you sing, whatever, you could come. I could give you a place. I could help you promote it. Hey, this time, these people are hosting. It's free. Come hang out. Listen to music by someone who's local, who's trying to get their music known. I would love that. I love it. I would do stuff. There's a place downtown where I live, and they kind of do some events like this. They've done like poetry nights so people can share their poetry. I do some stuff like that for writers. Whatever it is, I would have a place for them. Free events, classes. I would even, if I could, I would have spaces specifically for, with my supplies. If I had enough supplies, I would let people come if they don't have the means to do what they want to do or the space. Kind of like in college, if you are like a painting major or whatever, you have like a studio space. I would let people rent a little space that they can do their art and have all their projects, and I would give them all the supplies they needed. Oh, you need canvases, whatever. And then they can make art because I want people to make art. I want people to be creative. It is human nature to create. And I would love to be someone who nurtures that, nurtures a community of people who enjoy creating, where they can meet people that are local, that also love creating, are in different spaces of the creative world, whatever. They can come and see people and see art, listen to music, listen to poetry, writing, whatever. They can have a space where they can see that, they can be a part of that, they can enjoy that. I want to create that. And that's when I realized that the main goal for me, above wanting to obviously discover myself through my art, sell my art, talk about it, talk about my projects, have a space for my projects. I want to make a space for other people and their projects. And I want to have a space where people, they can be creative. They have the space. I want to teach people and let people feel inspired that they can do what they want to do, whether or not they want to do it as a full-time thing or if it's just a hobby. It doesn't matter, that they are allowed to have their creative projects and practices, and that there are people who care about it and that it matters. Whether or not they're making money from it, whether or not they want to do it as a career, they just have that space. That is what I want to do. Bare bones, end of the day. And when I realized that, I was like, this is my calling. This is what I need to do. I need to shine light on the creative space and those who don't feel like they can be or they can do what they want to do. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I need to be doing. I am really excited about it. I'm really excited to build something like this. I'm really excited to share things and meet people like who have similar things. Because I love creatives. Everyone, in my opinion, like humans are creative beings. Whether or not you think you're an artist, whether or not you think being creative is human nature. Singing, dancing, you don't have to be good at it. The point is that you're doing it. It's the act of being creative that fuels and nourishes the human soul. but specifically people who speak to it on a higher level. I love these people. I love people who do creative jobs as a career. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if I don't know anything about it. I don't care if I'm not interested. I am interested because it's creative. I don't care if you're a director. I don't care if you're a photographer. I don't care if you write poetry, if you're writing a book, if you crochet, if you do pottery, if you're an artist and you do digital art, you paint, you sketch. It doesn't matter. If you're creative and you have a project and you have things, I love it. I want to see it. I want to hear about it. I want you to have a space so that people who are supposed to see what you are doing and can connect with you can connect with you. That's what I want. That's who I am, and that is my goal as an artist. Yeah. Kind of went on a tangent. I get really passionate. That's how I know that I love it so much. I'm so passionate about it. Like, I love creatives from the bottom of my heart. I love you. I love you. And I need to see you. I need to see you. I need to hear from you. I need to know about what you're doing. I want to know. I need to know. And I want to make a space for you. And I know that this is more of like a local thing that I would do, but I would definitely make a space like this online, maybe on Patreon, maybe somewhere else. I don't know. I would figure out a way that I could connect other creatives with creatives that aren't necessarily local, just creatives in general. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and I definitely have the will, okay? I do not give up. I am too stubborn for that. This is what I am here for. And if this is what you were here for, well, now you know who I am and what I want to do. And if you want to stick around for this journey, because I will share everything. I'm going to share all of my projects. I'm going to share my entire journey and all of my struggles and all of my successes, anything. And eventually, when I feel like I have the knowledge, I'll share my knowledge and try to build a community of like-minded people. But thank you if you sat through this entire rant, and if you want to know more, if you want to follow me through this journey, please feel free to do so. I have everything that you need in the description. My YouTube, my Instagram, everything. I share on everything. So stick around if you want to be here for the journey and you resonate with what I say.